Ukraine's recent strike on Russia's explosive factory and oil terminal was not an impulsive act of aggression but a calculated military move designed to weaken the backbone of Moscow's war machinery. The purpose behind such strategic targeting lies in disrupting the supply chains that sustain Russian combat operations. Every modern army depends on a continuous flow of fuel, ammunition, and explosives, and by hitting the sources that produce and store these essentials, Ukraine aims to reduce Russia's operational capabilities on the battlefield. This kind of strike demonstrates not only Ukraine's military intent but also its growing sophistication in warfare planning, as it chooses targets that have long-term strategic effects rather than immediate, short-lived outcomes. By targeting a facility like the Sverdlovsk explosive plant and the oil terminal in Crimea, Ukraine is attempting to cut off the very arteries that keep the Russian war effort alive. These facilities represent more than industrial sites, they symbolize power, production, and persistence. When such key assets are damaged or destroyed, the ripple effect can be enormous. Factories may slow down or halt production, supply lines can be interrupted, and frontline troops may face shortages of critical materials. Over time, these shortages can lead to delays, reduced morale, and logistical failures, which are as harmful as direct combat losses. Thus, Ukraine's decision reflects an understanding of the broader mechanics of modern warfare, where economic and industrial disruption can be as decisive as battlefield victories. Furthermore, this strike carries psychological significance. It sends a message to both Russia and the international community that Ukraine possesses the intelligence, precision, and courage to strike deep within enemy territory. This action is not merely defensive, it asserts Ukraine's strategic reach and resilience in the face of a much larger opponent. For Russia, it serves as a warning that its internal resources are no longer untouchable. For Ukraine's allies, it is proof that the military aid and technology provided are being used effectively and purposefully. In essence, the strike represents a shift from reactive defense to proactive strategy. It showcases how modern conflicts are fought not only with weapons but with foresight, targeting the infrastructure that fuels an enemy's strength. By undermining these vital systems, Ukraine is reshaping the balance of power, one precise strike at a time. The Sverdlovsk plant in Zherzhinsk holds immense industrial and military importance for Russia, making it one of the most significant targets in Ukraine's latest strategic campaign. Established decades ago, this facility has been central to the production of military-grade explosives such as TNT, RDX, and other high-energy materials used in artillery shells, missiles, and aerial bombs. In times of war, such factories become the lifeblood of a nation's defense system, ensuring that troops at the front are supplied with the necessary weapons and ammunition to sustain prolonged combat. By striking this specific site, Ukraine aimed not only to damage infrastructure but to disrupt Russia's entire chain of munitions production, a move that could have lasting effects on Moscow's operational efficiency and combat readiness. The simultaneous attack on the oil terminal in Crimea adds another layer of strategic depth. This terminal functions as a crucial fueling hub for Russia's military vehicles, aircraft, and naval units operating in and around the Black Sea. Without a stable supply of fuel, even the most powerful army cannot move, fight, or defend effectively. By targeting the energy supply network, Ukraine has struck at the logistical foundation that supports Russia's daily war operations. The destruction or even temporary shutdown of such a facility can cause ripple effects across various sectors of the Russian military machine, impacting transportation, mobility, and overall coordination. Beyond the physical damage, the strikes on these industrial assets hold symbolic significance. They challenge Russia's long-held sense of security within its own borders, demonstrating that no facility, no matter how deep inside the country or under how many layers of defense, is completely safe. It also showcases Ukraine's growing intelligence and reconnaissance capabilities, suggesting that it has precise knowledge of the location and functioning of key enemy infrastructure. From an economic perspective, the loss of an explosives factory and an oil terminal can also strain Russia's war economy. These facilities contribute not just to military strength but to industrial output, employment, and regional stability. Their destruction disrupts production cycles and adds financial pressure to an already burdened state. Thus, Ukraine's strikes represent a combination of military precision and economic warfare, an effort to weaken Russia not only on the battlefield but also in its industrial heart. Ukraine's use of long-range drones and precision missiles in its latest strikes marks a defining shift in the nature of modern warfare. No longer limited to traditional frontline battles, Ukraine has expanded the scope of conflict by employing advanced technology capable of reaching deep into enemy territory. These weapons allow for highly targeted operations with minimal human risk, enabling Ukraine to strike critical infrastructure such as the Sverdlovsk explosives plant and the Crimean oil terminal from hundreds of kilometers away. This development illustrates a clear evolution in Ukraine's military strategy. From reactive defense to proactive, technology-driven offense. Long-range drones, equipped with sophisticated navigation systems and surveillance capabilities, have become a crucial element of Ukraine's modern arsenal. They allow real-time intelligence gathering, precise target identification, and accurate strikes on vital military and industrial assets. By using these unmanned systems, Ukraine minimizes the risk to its pilots and soldiers while maximizing the damage inflicted on Russian facilities. Similarly, the precision-guided missiles used in these operations represent a new level of strategic control. These missiles can be programmed to strike specific coordinates, ensuring that damage is concentrated on vital areas like fuel tanks, production lines, or weapon depots, rather than causing widespread civilian casualties. This technological leap reflects the changing face of warfare in the 21st century. Conflicts are no longer determined solely by the size of an army but by the quality of its intelligence, the sophistication of its technology, and the precision of its operations. Ukraine's increasing mastery of drone and missile warfare demonstrates how smaller nations can challenge larger powers through innovation and adaptability. It also underscores the importance of global alliances, as many of these advancements have been made possible through training, equipment, and technical support from Ukraine's Western partners. Moreover, these high-tech strikes serve as a message to Russia that its perceived security within its own borders is no longer guaranteed. Industrial zones and energy hubs once considered untouchable are now vulnerable. This not only damages Russia's physical assets but also shakes its psychological confidence. For Ukraine, the success of such operations symbolizes self-reliance, intelligence, and a growing command of modern warfare tools, proof that technology and precision can redefine the balance of power in even the most uneven of conflicts. Russia's immediate response to Ukraine's recent strikes revealed both its defensive preparedness and its growing anxiety over the expanding reach of Ukrainian attacks. According to official Russian statements, air defense systems were quickly activated to intercept the incoming drones and missiles targeting key facilities such as the Sverdlovsk explosives plant and the oil terminal in Crimea. The Russian military claimed that most of the drones were successfully shot down before they reached their intended targets, portraying this as proof of their strong defense network. However, several videos and eyewitness reports from local residents contradicted these claims, showing large fires and explosions lighting up the night sky, suggesting that some strikes indeed hit their mark. The conflicting accounts highlight an important aspect of modern warfare. The battle is fought not only on land and in the air but also in the realm of information. Both Russia and Ukraine are aware that controlling the narrative is almost as vital as controlling territory. Russia tends to downplay the extent of damage to preserve public confidence and project stability, while Ukraine emphasizes the success of its operations to demonstrate military effectiveness and boost morale at home and abroad. This clash of information shows how propaganda and perception management have become powerful weapons in the digital age. On the ground, reports indicated varying degrees of damage. Some Russian regional officials admitted that debris from intercepted drones caused fires and shattered windows in nearby residential areas. Others acknowledged that emergency crews worked for hours to contain blazes at industrial sites. Yet, official statements from Moscow avoided confirming any major industrial loss, likely to prevent panic and economic concerns. From an analytical perspective, Russia's reaction also reveals the limitations of its defensive capabilities. Despite investing heavily in missile shields and anti-drone systems, the frequency and success of Ukrainian attacks indicate that even these sophisticated defenses can be overwhelmed. The psychological effect of these strikes cannot be ignored. The Russian population, once confident in the security of the homeland, is increasingly realizing that the war is no longer confined to Ukraine's borders. In this way, Ukraine's attack has forced Russia to divide its focus, defending not just its frontline troops but also its own industrial and civilian heartland. The recent attacks by Ukraine on Russia's explosives factory and oil terminal cannot be viewed in isolation. They are part of a much broader military and political context that reflects the ongoing transformation of this war. As frontline combat continues with little territorial change, Ukraine has adopted a more strategic approach, focusing on striking the infrastructure that fuels and funds Russia's war efforts. These attacks come at a time when international attention is shifting once again toward the conflict, especially as Western nations debate new forms of military support for Kyiv, including advanced weapons systems such as Tomahawk missiles. The political dimension of these developments adds complexity to an already tense situation, as each military move carries diplomatic consequences that extend far beyond the battlefield. The United States and its allies have long been walking a delicate line, supporting Ukraine without triggering a direct confrontation with Russia. The recent strikes test this balance, since deeper attacks inside Russian territory may be perceived as escalatory. Russia has already issued strong warnings, suggesting that if Western weapons are used in such strikes, it could retaliate in ways that threaten broader European stability. These political exchanges reveal how the war has evolved into a multifaceted contest involving not only soldiers and weapons but also international diplomacy, economic sanctions, and the struggle for global influence. At the same time, Ukraine's actions reflect a growing sense of urgency and independence. The country is increasingly showing that it will not wait passively for negotiations or external approval but will take decisive measures to protect itself and weaken its opponent. This assertiveness has gained Ukraine new respect among its allies, who see it as capable of planning and executing complex operations. Yet, it also raises new concerns about escalation and the potential for miscalculation. The attacks also serve to remind the world that this war is not limited to territorial disputes but is deeply tied to questions of sovereignty, self-determination, and power dynamics in a rapidly changing global order. By striking vital Russian assets, Ukraine is making a political statement as much as a military one, that it remains strong, resourceful, and unwilling to accept a future defined by aggression or occupation. The strikes on Russia's explosives factory and oil terminal reveal the complex balance of power, ethics, and risk that defines modern warfare. In today's conflicts, the destruction of industrial and energy infrastructure is not just a tactical decision, it is a calculated move to weaken an opponent's economy, military capacity, and morale. By targeting facilities that supply fuel and munitions, Ukraine aims to limit Russia's ability to sustain long-term operations. Every bomb not manufactured, every vehicle not fueled, reduces the enemy's strength over time. This reflects a shift from traditional battlefield engagements to strategic warfare, where disrupting supply chains and infrastructure becomes as effective as winning battles. However, such strikes also carry significant risks and consequences. Attacking industrial plants and energy facilities can have unintended effects, such as civilian injuries, environmental damage, or energy shortages. These outcomes can influence international opinion, potentially creating political pressure on the attacking side. Ukraine must therefore balance military necessity with humanitarian considerations, ensuring that its operations comply with international law and maintain the moral high ground. This delicate balance highlights a key lesson in modern conflict. Victory is not only measured by destruction but also by perception and legitimacy in the eyes of the world. From a psychological standpoint, these attacks have a dual effect. For Russia, they create insecurity and fear, showing that the heart of its industrial system is vulnerable. For Ukraine, they boost morale and demonstrate capability, proving that even a smaller nation can challenge a powerful adversary through intelligence, precision, and innovation. Such psychological impact can often be as decisive as physical damage, influencing public sentiment, military confidence, and international alliances. On a global level, the implications of these strikes extend beyond Russia and Ukraine. They raise questions about the future of warfare, where drones, artificial intelligence, and cyber operations increasingly replace traditional armies. The focus is shifting toward strategic disruption rather than mass destruction. Ukraine's precision strikes embody this evolution, showing how modern wars are fought through technology, speed, and careful planning rather than sheer force. In essence, these attacks illustrate that in the 21st century, wars are won not only with weapons but with strategy, innovation, and the ability to turn weakness into strategic strength.